Hey everybody. Um, excuse the mess. I'm in the process of doing a remodel, so videos will be hit and miss. Um, Still haven't thought of a name for this YouTube channel that I'm doing. Um, Normally it's me and Mason. I'm doing one on my own because, like I said, I want to try and put one out at least every once a week. So. But, anyways, as I was going through everything, did a lot of thinking, like most people do. And um, some of the hot topics in archery right now is, or actually has been for the last few years, is it's always the newest, latest, and greatest stuff to come out. And um, if you kind of look back over the last couple of years, you're not seeing a whole lot of change in archery equipment. You're seeing a little bit more change when it comes to, I would say, the archery sights and the stuff that comes with it, but the bow itself, um, I mean, if you look at Matthews, for example, between the triax and the lift, I mean, not a whole lot of difference there when you start comparing them. Yeah, the lift has got 8 limbs, and because each one, it's a split limb that's split with dampeners in it. And I'm not, no, just for me to clarify, I'm not knocking any bow companies whatsoever. I'm just stating what I see. And um, kind of we don't really need to be jumping on this bandwagon of every year, every 2 years of um, buying the newest and latest and thinking it's going to help us be that much better of an archer when it solely falls on us. I scroll through social media all the time, and I see people having mishaps with Matthews, or they're having a mishap with Darton, or they're having a mishap with PSE, Hoyt, you name it, okay? It's kind of like Chevy, Ford, everybody's got their preference. Same thing with bows. But they all, in my eyes, are, you know, it's not exactly apple to apples, you know, big difference between a car and a bow and arrow. Um, but the point I'm going to get at here is they, from a Matthews to a Hoyt to a PSE, a Martin, um, you know, they all do the exact same thing. And same thing when it comes to Ford, Chevy, vehicles. You jump in, turn them on, press the gas pedal, boom, you're going. Everybody has their preference on certain things. So, with that being said, I was on the bandwagon of, one year, um, I traded bows 3 different times. I went Matthews when they came out in January, and then Hoyt came out with one. And I was like, I don't know. Well, then I got bored one day, went and test shot one. Oh yeah, I'm gonna shoot the Hoyt. And then during deer season, I was like, well, no. And then I switched back to a Matthews, and then that following January went to the latest and greatest. I was a lot younger, a lot more naive, didn't have a care in the world. But, um, anyways, with that, all that going on, I'm older, a little wiser, I would think. Um, Depending on who you talk to nowadays. I mean, you talk to Mason, he might have something different to say, but um, what I've noticed is hunting here in Iowa And like I said, with seeing people blaming all these bow companies and everything else, and they weren't able to get their big buck. Well, I think some people are now starting to realize is that you can't force your deer to grow big. I mean, there's so many things that go into this, genetics and health, herd health, and land management, all that. And there's a lot. I'm starting to see a few people kind of hit this subject, and it's minor subjects dead on. And I think more people need to start doing it. Is um, you can't you got to make sure that you have the deer there. Let's say you want to go shoot your 170, okay? And you're out there scouting and you're like, oh, well, there's a great, 140, 150-inch deer. Or, oh, hey, there's a really old deer that's, looks like a Brahma bull, but he's doesn't have much for a rack on his head. And, and you can kind of let those deer walk because you're after the mystical, 160, 70, 180, 200 incher that you see some of these other people out shooting. And it's, unless you got the genetics in the area, you've seen big deer that big a deer in your area, and you've got everything perfect on your, sorry about that. Like I said, I got no sound barrier because of remodel, but um, there's, and you have your land management absolutely perfect when it comes to habitat and food and water and everything else, and you got the whole 9 yards, and you got everything set up perfect to a T. Your button buck's not going to grow into that big, huge, mystical deer unless he's got the genetics, and the genetics got to be there. So number one, that's got to be done. Now, let's say you've got everything, and you want to go after that deer. Fine, great. I have no problems, going out. People wanting to go out and shoot 170, 180, 190-inch deer, and you let 140s, 150s walk. Me personally, I've shot at 150, 160, 170-inch deer. I don't have one on the wall though. And for the longest time, I was that guy that I was letting 130, 140, 150-inch deer walk. And they would walk 10, 15, 20 yards in front of me, and I'd let them walk by because that's not what I wanted. You know, Everything comes down to a preference if you guys aren't picking up on this. And um, it's a lot of people are starting to hit it. If you haven't shot 140, 150 inch deer or whatever, and you've got social media and some of these other people saying, oh, you use this product and you do this and you do this, you can magically shoot a 170-inch deer. No, you can't. Can you like the part of Iowa I'm in, close to the Mississippi River, where it's kind of wide, you got to take a few steps and hop, skips, leaps, jumps, and swim a little bit and struggle to get across to the other side if you ain't driving. And that's, putting it mildly. I mean, it would still be a struggle to get across if they're doing bridge work, but that's here nor there. Not a subject to talk about, but the point I'm getting at is can't go from jumping in, oh, I'm going to go buy a bow and I'm going to buy the latest and greatest and it's going to help me do all this. You can go out and spend under $500 on archery equipment, and you the people that I looked up to, um, uh, reading news magazine articles, the bow hunter ones, North American Whitetail, you know, you got M.R. James and, you know, Fred Bear, Ted Nugent, those old school guys. You know, you follow, listen to them, and, you know, James Kroll and all that when it comes to management and stuff, and you do those practices, you'll be a lot better successful hunter, and you'll also understand what hunting is all about, and the reward in the end. Now, what I'm saying is yeah, you can go out and spend, you know, I think it's, you can go and spend almost $300 for half dozen arrows because they're supposed to be the latest and greatest and everything else. Right here. That's a Magnus 4-blade. Okay. Don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but that's an. Turn it around here. Maybe that'll help. No, not going to work. But it's an Easton 2315 double X75 camo hunter. All the old school guys back in the late 80s, early 90s, and mid 90s, these arrows were the go-to thing. Pure aluminum. Everybody's wanting, you know, oh, I got to shoot heavy arrows. Here you go. I bought a dozen and a half for under $100. Really good straightness. My weight tolerance is, I mean, I'm within what I feel what is adequate for me. You know, off maybe a couple grains here or there. You know, is it plus or minus half a grain? No. Is it plus or minus 1 grain? Not for me. No, they're not. But old tried and true right here. You got yourself a 50-pound bow. You can shoot it great. You read old school articles. Learning how to hunt and listening to your buddies and everything else, and not have a care in the world, and don't care what you shoot. You're going to have a lot of fun. You're going to be hooked for a very long time. You know, maybe you don't want to shoot the Magnus. It's Montec G5. Same arrow. I love these arrows. Like I said, my days and with the way things are going right now, I'm switching back to these. I've got a bunch of them. They spin really good. I got some of these broadheads laying around. I'm switching back to these because for right now, like I said, hunting here in Iowa, yeah, I can take shots 50, 60, 70 yards if I want to. I've done it. I've shot deer at 50 yards. I've shot deer at 60 yards. And I will say, by knocking on wood here, I've been extremely lucky in my shots. And for what has happened in both times that I took a shot, the deer was feeding, calm, never knew I was even there. Wind was great. And every time I would shoot, head was down. And I thought they were going to stand still long enough. Took a shot. One time the deer took 2 steps while it was eating on some soybeans. It was a 65-yard shot. Took 2 steps. Got very, very lucky. And I was shooting the most hated broadhead on the market at the time. A Rage 3-blade. Not the new ones with the chisel tips now, but old school. I'm talking 2010, 2011 models. You know, first couple years they were out. Rage 3 blades. And never had an issue with it. And that deer, thankfully, only ran 40 yards, and then I ended up hitting it back, but I ended up clipping the liver and one lung, and that was it. But the deer had moved that far at that distance to took 2 steps. And some of you might say, "Oh, we'll shoot a faster bow and you won't have to worry about it." Well, okay, then the deer might have only taken 1 step if I was shooting a faster bow, and if I wasn't shooting a, you know, recommended arrow and arrow weight and everything else, I may not have even hit, because I didn't get the lung on the side that my arrow hit. I hit the lung on the opposite side, and so if I wasn't shooting, the correct weight, arrow weight and stuff, and what I knew would be adequate, I may not have even recovered that deer. You know, I would hope that a liver hit should theoretically kill a deer only. Take it a long while, but like I said, I got lucky on that shot, and with the other one, again, was absolutely pure luck. And this time the deer didn't take a step; it just twisted its body, and what ended up happening is I took so I was shooting a broadhead like this, Grim Reaper. We all know how they deploy, right? Fully expanded. Doo-doo-doo. So I had this whole deal hit the lung on the entrance. Then I had one blade just cut the other. I mean, it was just about the length of the blade. That's all that got cut because that deer had shifted. And that was a 55-yard shot. And that deer ran 250, 300 yards. And I'm pretty sure it was dead for the amount of blood it lost and everything, but it was one of them where I backed out and went and retrieved it the following morning. So my scenario with me wanting to shoot these and my setup, I found out my sweet spot for shooting deer and making sure that everything's going to work for me. It's that magical 30, no further than 35, 36, and because that gives you a little bit of room to play, and um, just a confident booster, in my opinion. So, I mean, and around here when you're hunting inside the timber, I was hunting field edges on both of those, but most of my big buck opportunities have been in the wood lines, and those were actually does that I had shot out on the field line early season. But so most of your shots will be within that 0 to 39 yard, and I've even done a little bit of research with average shot taken on a deer in, you know, in the state of Iowa. There was one done. I remember reading the article, and it was 27 yards is about the average. So that's what I practice at. That I practice anywhere from about 5 to 39 yards, and the reason I do that is if it's 39, for the way that I sight my bow in and the equipment that I do, if I don't have time to grab my rangefinder, I know that deer's in that mark. Okay, if it looks a little bit further than 39, let's say I'm guessing it right at 39, but the deer's a little bit further and it's 42, 43, I know that if I put my pin that I'm going to shoot for 39 goes there, I know I give myself a leeway of a couple of yards to where my arrow's going to hit within about a 4-inch circle, and that's what I go for. So that way I know that it's going to be a dead deer. So, but you're going to have your stuff that doesn't always pan out. Um, I've had a few instances where the shot didn't pan out, things happened. Uh, it's always going to happen in archery, but so yeah, we need to, in my opinion, we all need to jump off the bandwagon a little bit and not blaming these because we didn't find our deer, or these because it's not the latest and greatest, or whatever. The equipment's designed to do what it's going to do, and it's going to do it. We all need to take responsibility as hunters and realize it's on us. We're the ones that took the shot. We're the ones doing everything. We're in control. That bow is going to do the exact same thing every single time. You draw it back, you let it go, it's going to release the arrow. And that's going to produce that. It's going to produce it within the zone that the manufacturer made for what it wants that arrow to do and what it's designed to do every time. So we need to start taking responsibility, and that's on us. You know, oh, hey, we went to draw on a deer and our bow blew up. Okay, is it? I've been seeing this a lot. You know, there's a lot of human factors that go into that bow blowing up. Now, if it's a limb that breaks or whatever because it's a really, really old bow, that I can understand. But if you're one of those guys that throws their bow around and doesn't take care of it really, and a limb breaks, well, did you chip it? Did you, crack it? Or that sort of thing. It all boils down to the human part of it, you and me aspect. And we need to start taking control of that. And, oh, I'm never going to shoot a Matthews because this is what happened on my bow, and I should have never switched from Hoy, blah, 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 what had never happened. Well, no, sorry, that's on you, man. It's, that didn't cost you your deer. You did. Oh, that's not a big enough cut. It ain't going to do enough. This broadhead has taken more deer than most people around. This one. Oh, it ain't going to penetrate. Oh, can do a lot. You can't. It's going to deflect. It's going to do this. It's going to do that. You don't think this will deflect? It will. You think you want to be one of them that takes a frontal shot and misjudges it? You hit that front shoulder? I personally have seen it. I don't hunt with him anymore, but there used to be a guy I worked with. Swore on fixed blade. Hated these. He actually shot this exact broadhead. He took a 22-yard frontal shot on a big deer on a property that him and I were leasing at the time. And arrow went in. He thought it went great. Buried it clear up to the fletchings. He was shooting a Carbon Express Maxima arrow. And like I said, buried up to the fletchings, 29-inch arrow. I mean, awesome. He's like, yeah, I saw blood spray. I heard crash and he's dead. Yada, yada. Okay, cool. We start walking. Yeah, there's a little bit of blood at the site and stuff. And we continue walking, and well, the blood's getting less and less and less. And then we find his arrow wasn't buried up to the fletchings. It was maybe halfway up or whatever, just at his angle, he thought it went up to the fletchings. And so we kept walking, and blood at this point. I mean, at this point, we've gone maybe 60, 70 yards. I'm like, dude, where's this deer? You said you heard him crash right in this area. And he's like, yeah, he should be somewhere right here. Help me, And this isn't in the dark. This was an early morning shot, so we've got plenty of daylight. It's bluebird day. And we're looking, and that's like, So I asked him, where was, we sat down, and I was like, you said you shot him frontal. I was like, if you hit him anywhere, this part, there's nothing stopping that arrow. I was like, why did your arrow stop? I was like, we found it. There's only blood halfway up. He's like, well, I don't know. Maybe it's, he just started rambling off excuses or whatever. And then I started puzzle piecing together, and then I'm like, okay, well, we'll keep walking. I wanted to see where this is going, and I want to give every chance of recovering a deer no matter what. So we're walking, and we get about 150 yards from where he shot this deer, and I can see one bedded down. And got the binoculars out, started looking, and I was like, hey, there's a deer up here bedded down. I was like, take a look at him and see. Sure enough, yeah, that's the buck I shot. I'm like, okay, well, I told him, we'll knock another arrow. You go up on and sneak up on him and, put another one in him. He gets within 50 yards and sends one, and I'm like, why would you? The deer's facing away from him, and the wind's in my buddy's face at the time. The wind's in his face, and he's directly behind this deer and launches it right over this deer's head. Okay, again, makes no sense. I know I'm rambling, but I'm getting to my point here. And deer gets up, takes off, and I notice shoulders dangling. I'm like, okay, now I know what happened. He took a frontal shot, and that he just broke the shoulder, is all he did. So I was like, okay. Got back to him, I was like, why'd you, started asking questions, question him about why he took that shot and this and that and everything else. He was like, oh, I figured I'd go right in, right next to the spine and, miss most of the bones and everything right there. And I just misjudged it. And I was like, oh, misjudged it. Yeah, I thought the deer was this far, and, my arrow, it kind of just sailed on me. I don't know about these arrows. I just switched to them, giving off all these excuses. Well, I was like, well, hey, I saw that his front shoulder was limping. No, that's not where I hit him. I hit him frontal. I was like, okay. I said there was nothing on his side. I said there was a tuft of hair kind of towards the front. I said, and you said that was the buck you shot. It's shoulders, dunzos. No. I know it's getting long now, but sum everything up, had our little differences, walked out, whatever. This was middle of October. I see that deer 3 more times. 2 of them were at a distance, and then I got lucky enough on a November day. I saw him coming, and I realized the deer's going to live, and this is in my phase of only shooting 170-inch deer or better, and this wasn't a deer that I personally didn't want to shoot at the time. He walks in 20 yards, and I can see as he's walking from my right to left, kind of at a, one of these angles, like from a 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock angle. at me. I can see the tuft of hair. I can see about that much of the arrow sticking out. He's actually using it a little bit. I'm like, well, maybe this deer might make it. And then as he gets closer and closer and closer, as he's walking, I can see the outline along this deer's shoulder of the broadhead. And it's at a slight angle, so you can make these deflect. Now, I will admit, not as easily as these, but take the right shot placement. This. These are old, by the way. I don't use them. Or this. And some, pardon my language, some smartass will jump on, oh, field point will kill him. Well, yeah, it will. But how effectively? And that's a whole nother topic to where you want to talk about effectiveness. This is going to be a little bit more effective than this. It comes down to preference. But I shoot all three. And I can honestly say that we've covered more deer shooting one of these than I have this or this. Sorry about that. Like I said, doing a remodel, not a lot of soundproofing, got a lot of work going on. But, anyways, I recovered a lot more deer due to a marginal hit. And not due to equipment, because of me being, the buck fever and everything else. Everybody said doesn't want to, you see some of the big wigs on TV, they'll sit there and, if they know they made a bad shot, they'll admit to it, And I see a lot of the social media pros. Oh, it was due to the bow's fault. It was the bow's fault. Oh, it was the arrow's fault. Oh, it's the broadhead's fault. No, it wasn't. It was your fault. You took a marginal shot that you shouldn't do because you didn't understand your equipment. Understand your equipment. Understand your abilities. And go with it. So, like I said, I just wanted to get on, do this little deal. I know it's not going to be the best. Like I said, I'm working on doing this, guys. I'm trying to come up with a name and everything. So, bear with me. The video is going to get better. I'm going to get help and stuff. Later on this year, I'm going to show you what I look for when choosing broadheads, whether it's one of these, or a fixed blade, or like the G5 I've got. I'm going to do a video detailed on what, I look for, what I want to see. And if you want really detailed stuff, you guys need to go check out John Lusk. He's got multiple different broadheads in his testing, and he tells you like it is. And I think he does a lot of good and tries to give each broadhead it, the best that it can do and stuff. So you guys want a detailed deal, go check out John Lusk over on his YouTube page and um, follow him if or if you don't find the broadhead that you want, you can send him a pack and he'll help you out, do whatever, But like I said, I get some of my stuff from him just to see with other broadheads if I want to change something up or whatever. But like I said, because times are tough right now. I'm switching back to, I'm jumping off the bandwagon. I'm actually going backwards. Like I said, I'm going to be shooting aluminums. I will be shooting an expandable. I will be shooting a fixed blade. I don't know if it's going to be one of these, the Magnus, a Muzzy, old school Thunderhead. I don't know yet. It depends on how much time I have to be able to make sure my stuff is tuned to be able to do all this. Like I said, I'm doing a basement remodel. It's doing it all myself, so I don't know how much time I will have to do, but I know that I am gonna do that, and also show you what I'm gonna do on this one piece of property. I don't lease property. I'm old school. Knock on the door, ask for permission, help the farmer out, and it's taken me 6 years now to get permission to finally actually do this, and kind of show you guys what I'm going to do on the property to help the herd out with nutrition and everything else, giving them a little bit of extra food and helping out their habitat and stuff. So kind of show you that, and later on this year might even do a couple of archery tournaments to put on here, not the whole thing, because I mean, for the way me and my buddies shoot it, 2-3 hours, I'm not going to make a 2-3 hour long YouTube video of us just dinking around shooting. If we video the whole thing, it might end up doing 3 or 4 different videos of the same shoot, just different segments on what we bullshit about while we're out on the course and stuff and goofing off. But also what I look for when placing stands and everything, and to also show that you don't need to be 20 feet up in a tree. You don't need to be 15 feet up in a tree. I have a couple of stands that are 10 foot and under, because for where I want to hunt, I can't go that high. I just can't. The tree won't allow me to do it, and I don't have the money to go and spend, hundreds of dollars on these stands, and that can go in a leaning tree like this. But no, I work with what I'm given. A lot of the stands that you might see me put up are muddy and this and that. Well, I bought them off of auction sites. I didn't buy them through the manufacturer. I bought them from people that were getting out of it because it's getting to be too costly, and they just wanted to get some of their money back. And that's what I'm doing. And when I buy from somebody that's getting out, I ask them, are you sure you want to give it up? I mean, you can, I try to keep somebody in because we need help I shouldn't say our industry, the natural resource part, with, getting more people involved and everything. We can't be losing people. We need to be gaining people. We need to be teaching the next generation about all this too. And I think some of the schools are right on with this, with archery programs and trap shooting programs. That's big thumbs up there. So, but like I said, that some of the stands you might see me do, yeah, they might be, oh, you said you don't use high dollar stands. I can tell you right now, there ain't a stand that I put up that I paid more than $50 for. And so, um, and you'll see that some of them are, you're going to be like, oh, it won't ever happen. I can prove to you that it does, and I will have my Tacticam going and everything, and I will do. I mean, there's even a couple of uh, videos where I am elevated and I'm looking down and I've got deer walking by. I'm 10 feet up. I'm not 20 feet up. I'm 10 foot. To the seat of my tree is 10 foot. So if I'm holding it up here, okay, yeah, it might be 14 feet from the angle because I'm 6 foot and I hold my phone right here. So you do the math. But my stand's only 10 foot from ground to the seat, not to the standing platform, to the seat. 10 foot. You can look at some of those shorts, and there's a winter one, and there's a couple other ones that are walking right by, not a care in the world. And I'm not a small guy. I'm 10 feet off the ground. And I'll show more, and I'll try and maybe even do a video about it. So, um, yeah, I'm gonna do a little bit of that. I know in other videos, Mason's and I have mentioned, you guys be able to help this grow and, bear with us through the startup, growing pain sort of thing. Um, he's gonna do a giveaway. He's in the process right now. He's actually getting, as we speak, he's making up baits, filling a few orders, and trying to come up with a giveaway that him and I would like to do around the 4th of July. I think we're going to do it either that weekend or the weekend after with an order. You can, so there's, we'll draw somebody random and, oh, hey, here's, you're our lucky winner, sort of thing. So, um, like I said, I know it's going to do that. And a couple other things that he's starting to work on, a little bit of a merch line and getting his logo going and everything. Uh, I have talked to Jordan. We've talked about him. He will be jumping on this with me at some point when his schedule settles down. Hopefully, we can do it before turkey season. This guy really knows turkeys, loves turkey hunting. The way he is about turkey hunting is the way I am when it comes to deer hunting. Um, Absolutely loves it. And another person that I am for sure going to bring on is another one with fishing. He's doing his own baits and stuff too, and he is actually working on his LLC and stuff. I'm pretty sure of because he's posting all over on Facebook and taking orders and everything. And that's DNS Tackle. And one of the main guys is a good friend of mine, is Chris Doty. He'll be jumping. He said he would like to jump on, talk baits, talk deer hunting, stuff like that. Um, Super nice guy. Everybody that I hang out with, associate with, we're all great guys. Um, so that's a little bit that I have coming up here in the near future. Like I said, if I miss a week, I'm sorry. I got life things. This is just something for me to do to clear my head, maybe help a few people out, get a few things off my chest. So um, I hope it turns into something. If not, hopefully everybody can get a good laugh or sit there and be like, well, that was a waste of time. Okay, whatever. I don't see this as a waste of time talking about something that I'm passionate about and throwing my 2 cents out. I mean, everybody else is, and take it with a grain of salt. you know, hopefully I can teach you something, maybe help you out with something. But yeah, well, hopefully here in the next little bit I'll have a name for this. I'm tossing around some ideas, so I'll get a name and I'll probably end up changing the name of the channel. But anyways, I know you guys are uh, waiting for all the good stuff and everything, but promise you guys hang in there, bear with me with this. The videos are going to get better, the content's going to get better. um, Everything will gradually get better. Like I said, this is bare minimum starting out deal. So if you want to watch us progress and what everybody else is doing from ground level to going up, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell for when I do put these up, um, do all that and just help us out and watch the fun begin, I guess. So until then, I'll see you guys on the next one, and hopefully I'll have one of those guys with me. If not, I will make sure to have a better topic to talk about, and might even be a little bit shorter because I won't ramble on and go into storytelling, kind of like what I do to get a point across. That's something I'll work on with this. So until the next one, guys, you know what to do. That like, subscribe, notification. See you guys later.